Welcome to Discover Greater Lansing. Whether you're exploring the rich history of the state capital or indulging in incredible local food, there's always something exciting happening here. Discover living. Discover mobility. Discover downtown. Discover giving back. Greater Lansing offers breathtaking activities and outdoor adventures, ensuring a perfect balance of city life and natural beauty. Discover the warmth. Discover the charm. Discover Greater Lansing. The journey begins now.
Well, hello and welcome back to Discover Greater Lansing. There is nothing more important to our city and to our region than the health of our community. That's why I am so thrilled today to have with us Dr. Shanko, the head of the Ingham County Health Department. Welcome today.
Good morning. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's you hear so much about the health department, especially in light of the C word we don't use anymore, the COVID pandemic. But there's so much more to the health department and its mission of caring for the health of our community, raising public awareness about all the issues, not only influenza and vaccinations, but about so many different things. So can you just provide a brief overview to our viewers on what the Ingham County Health Department does?
Absolutely.
And how it's so important to our region?
So our mandate is to improve and protect the health of our community, the community that we serve. And as a local health department, there are multiple divisions within the health department that support the health of our community, because like you said, there's so many things, not just pandemic response or outbreak response, which is kind of where public health had started originally. But there are other things like maternal and child health. There's environmental health. We address issues such as health promotion and prevention, which could cover a broad plethora of things, including substance use disorder, just helping people navigate through the healthcare system. Ingham County Health Department is unique, though, in that we not only provide public health programs, but we also have, as part of the health department, community health center that offers primary care too. So in addition to our public health programs, the maternal and child health that I mentioned, the communicable disease response, environmental health, response, and services that we provide, we also provide a direct primary care. And in that space, things happen such as immunizations, direct care for basic primary care, and some specialty care too.
Wonderful. So from before birth to all the way through our lives,
no matter what you need.
That is wonderful. And how many people are involved, and what kind of positions are doctors, nurses?
So that's a really good question. It's a wide range. So when you work in public health, people come from all sorts of backgrounds. So in that primary care space, yes, a lot of people work as physicians, in advanced practice providers, nurses. In the public health space too, we also have, I'm a physician, but also an administrator. We have nurses who administer vaccines, nurses who do home visiting to, support families in their homes, especially newborn moms, to support them as they learn the ropes of being a new mother, particularly in our disadvantaged or where we experience disparities in communities where there are disparities with healthcare. We also have a lot of specialists such as sanitarians who help in that environmental health space, who do things like inspections, restaurant inspections. They help support pools, depending on what the season is. There are different things to do in that space. And then we have community healthcare workers who also do a lot of work in helping our community members navigate healthcare, navigate social services, housing. Public health has expanded its scope. Some of the things I mentioned are the standard things, but we're moving into things like talking about community violence, for example,
yeah.
talking about substance use disorder. We talk a lot about mental health, so there are many things. Housing, we're discovering that housing is a significant social determinant of health, and it's something that we have to be a part of to make sure that our communities have what they need in order to live healthy lives. And that means having a roof over your head, having food to eat, apart from, the very important things like vaccinations and healthcare.
Wow, I mean, that is so...
It's broad.
It's so broad and so extensive. You have a gigantic job on your hand keeping our community healthy in so many ways.
Yes.
And from the restaurants we eat in, and I'm sure... I just love partnerships, and you mentioned housing, and you mentioned food, so the food bank and the housing commission, and all those different partners. So how, tell me how it works, just an example maybe of a partnership you may have that people may not have known of.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. Because when I just listed the whole plethora of things that we do, it makes it seem like the health department does everything single-handedly. One of the things that the pandemic did show us is that our partnerships are critical. They're so important, because even though we are the holders or the conveners of a lot of the programs and the structure, and we support our community partners, but we can't do it alone, because in a lot of cases, our community partners are in direct contact with our community members. They're either the ones who are they have the direct contact or have the lived experience to give us the information we need to, do those programs. And so when I think about different partnerships, a really good example is, I guess I have to go back to the C word, is COVID-19. As things started with the pandemic, as information kept changing, we realized that it wasn't something that we could administer ourselves, that we could manage ourselves in the context of outbreaks, in the context of vaccine administration, in the context of testing. And that's where we stood up a good incident command system, where we worked with community partners, hospital systems, police, law enforcement, the universities. Those are the big partners, right? But then when you think about other partners within our communities, as we started to address healthcare disparities, COVID was another place where we saw a big disparity depending on, different ethnicities. And so we started working with different community partners in that space, depending on what group they belonged to. So special groups where we saw significant disparities, we pulled those partners in to tell us, what do our community members need? How can we reach them the most? Within Ingham County, we have a really large refugee community, and we work with Refugee Development Center. We work with St. Vincent's St. Vincent's Charities. And so communities like that, partnerships like that really helped us to address the needs of our community, not just at that point, but in real time, because things were moving really quickly. So as things evolved, we got the information we needed, and it really helped to make a difference.
And absolutely, and that's a very strategic approach. It's just it's not one size fits all.
Absolutely.
When it comes to public health.
Right.
And knowing cultural differences.
Absolutely.
Languages, just how to reach people where they're at.
Yeah.
And it takes a very concerted and intentional effort, and I think that's where the Ingham County Health Department does especially well. In reaching people where they
we're learning.
Yes.
We're learning to do more of it. We're learning to be more intentional about it. Like I said, we've always worked with our partners, but we're definitely doing more to engage our partners within the community, supporting them too as they support us, making sure that they have the resources to do the work that they do really well too. So, depending on what that is, whether that has to do with, for example, we have a program for doulas, for Black doulas within our community, and we've partnered with Black doulas trainers within the community to support that, because we don't have that resource, but we've identified a resource where that training can happen, and then we make the connections with the community members who need them. I could give you multiple examples of how that works in different spaces.
Right. But the power of partnerships, and that's
critical.
Show after show, we've just brought people together, and we can't do it alone. We can do good things singly, but
Right.
we can do really great things together.
Yeah.
And another example. So you can't go anywhere or down a Lansing road without seeing a CATA bus go by with these giant colorful Band-Aids on them, and there's some billboards and
great
some
partners. CATA's a great partner too.
CATA's another partner.
Yeah.
So shout out to carrying the message in a different way.
Absolutely.
Where people are coming and going. So so there's this Your Shot campaign, and people are fatigued about talking about COVID, and we want to get over that.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about this Your Shot campaign. And this is the second year that
Yes.
we're reminding people of what.
Right. So bless you.
Thank
So
you.
the Your Shot campaign is really just an effort for us to encourage our community members, our residents, to protect themselves while we enter into this flu season. Yes, it has been tiring. The conversation about COVID in general and vaccines we've talked about it over and over again. But here we are again in October, where we're back in cold and flu season. And not only we have influenza, we have COVID-19, which is a new kid on the block, so to speak. We also have RSV, respiratory syncytial virus also. That's also one of those things that causes respiratory illness within our community. And there are vaccines for all of them. So these are some of the few things that we can use, a really good, significant, I like to say, tool in our toolbox to address our respiratory season, because we know that when we do have a lot of respiratory infections, it increases the number of people who end up in the hospital. It therefore weighs down our hospitals on the resources that they have to address all the other important things that they need to address, even the basic things like, heart disease and diabetes and those things that show up in the hospitals. When we have higher numbers of respiratory illness, it puts a burden, an extra burden on our health system. So, not only just in our health system, if you think about it, just if you're vaccinated, you're protecting someone else around you who you may or may not know is vulnerable to a more severe infection. And there's so many reasons why people can be subject to a worse infection than maybe you or I can, if they have underlying medical conditions, when they're older individuals too. When they do get infections, there's a likelihood that they get an infection that's worse than normal, that might put them out for a few days, or they might end up in the hospital. And as much as we can prevent that, we want to do that by encouraging a lot of people, as many people as possible, to get vaccinated. The other thing I really want to mention is that when we have a cohort, a large number of vaccinated individuals, that increases our herd immunity, and our community is relatively safer because we have more people who are vaccinated, and technically we don't have as much virus floating around in the air that exposes people. So we hope to have vaccination rates, particularly over the rate of about 70%. And right now in Michigan, when we talk about vaccinations in general, particularly for children, we're under 70%. We're about at the mid 60% range, and that's not enough, not just for COVID or for influenza, but all the other childhood vaccines that we need for our community to have done, so that our children can remain protected.
All right. So it's kind of about COVID, but really it's about something
so
much more. During COVID, it was more difficult to get to see your, and people didn't stay up to date. And now Your Shot to go ahead and not only take care of yourself, but when you're visiting grandma and grandpa, and now I'm a grandma, so
That's
thank
fun.
you. It's wonderful. And but as we age too, we become more vulnerable for a number of reasons. And so you're not only protecting yourself, you're protecting those you love in your life, and you might not think about it so much anymore, and how important it is to keep up to date. So I've been hearing it's, people are more accustomed to getting their flu vaccine, but COVID with its variants, it's also important that
Absolutely.
you're not just one and done.
Right.
And
Actually, you could get both at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
both at the same. I have a daughter in college, and she just sent me a picture yesterday, and she was like, "I got my shots," and she had 2 Band-Aids on her arm, on the same
Okay.
arm. So yes, you can get it. There's no contraindication to it. There's no harm. You may experience the standard side effects that one experiences with vaccinations in general, but there's no harm to it, and it actually saves you time.
There you go.
Instead of having to go to do it twice, there's actually a chance that if you go once, going back to do it a second time, you might lose that chance. So if you're in there and they're offering both, and we are doing that at the health department, just come in, fix an appointment, and get both once and for all.
Yeah. Get it done.
One and
Go
done.
on with your life and know that
Yeah, that
you're
you're
protecting
protected.
yourself and others. And so, there's news all over the internet, and some of it isn't accurate, unfortunately. Even my friends and I get together, and they're still, oh, I still got sick, or someone got it and they got something worse. How do you dismiss some of those rumors and myths that are perpetuated, especially on social media?
Absolutely. So there's been a lot of talk about vaccines, the COVID-19 vaccine in general. So one of the things that we want to clarify is that the COVID-19 vaccine was not created or made to completely prevent or eliminate the chance of infection. It reduces the chance of infection significantly, and also reduces the chances of significant complications. So the severity of illness is a critical piece to having the vaccine. So when an individual does get the vaccine, and sometime later they do get, a cough and a sneeze, it could be that it is COVID. It could be there are other respiratory viruses available too. But also it could be that it reduces the severity of the infection that that individual had. And when that happens, just to your point earlier, not only are you making things better for yourself by reducing the severity, but also in terms of it decreases the duration of illness for you, and therefore the chances of you spreading it to other people is also significantly reduced. And so,
Excellent. So, you've heard it here. Keep our community healthy. This is your shot.
this is your
To
shot.
keep us healthy and enjoying all that Greater Lansing has to offer. Dr. Shanko, thank you so much for being here today and sharing this very important message.
Thank you for having me. It's an opportunity. I appreciate it. And everybody, we have vaccines for you, so come and get it.
Holiday gift season is fast approaching, and we're here talking to Oscar Pena from Black Rose Designs. Oscar, you're in Middle Village, right in the heart of downtown. Tell me a little bit about what Black Rose Designs does.
Well, at Black Rose Designs, we like to make clothing from fabric that is sturdy and should last a long time, as well as some classic things like leather and denim and stuff.
So kind of an industrial clothing line.
Yeah, industrious and very hardy.
Hardy. And for men and for women?
For everybody, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. What kind of gift items could I get from Black Rose during the holidays?
Coming up in the holiday season, I'm going to be offering a lot more winter wear, some scarves and hats and jackets, and as well as more leather goods, wallets and belts and bags.
Gosh, something for everybody. So if I wanted to buy something custom made as a gift, do you have any tips or pointers?
Well, I'm borrowing a little bit from the old hat makers in the Old West. They would offer tiny mocks of the hats you bought. So if you wanted to buy a custom pant or jacket for somebody, I would give you a small version.
Oh, how fun.
And you would take that to them and let them know that they would have to come in and redeem it for life size.
And tell us what you think your best holiday selling gift item will be.
Right now it's been the belts and wallets that I make by hand in-house.
Well, okay, so we can find you 11 to 7, Tuesday through Saturday, right in Middle Village, right?
Right in the Atrium building, yeah, Middle Village.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, I'm with Shelley Starr today from Supreme Lending, and we're going to talk about finishing out this year and letting buyers and sellers know what's important as they look at a real estate transaction right now in the greater Lansing area. Shelley, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, so tell me, what are you thinking that people need to be doing if they're looking at making a purchase or selling a home here in fourth quarter?
First and foremost, they need to get a pre-approval if they're looking at buying. Being pre-approved with the lender is very important for a real estate agent to get you out there and looking for houses. Making sure credit is in line, that you've taken a look at your credit, make sure where it's at, you know where it's at, and making sure that's keeping in a good structure, good standing. Okay. And then also savings, making sure you've got the money in the account so that we can move forward once you find a home.
Great. Are there any programs right now that are like the latest and greatest that you would like to talk to me about in regards to buying a home?
Well, right now there are a lot of programs available. So for anybody that is self-employed or need down payment assistance, there's some grant programs available for first-time home buyers. So you really need to talk to your loan officer ahead of time and find out what programs you can take advantage of for your buying in this season.
Okay, great. Well, I will tell you, from a real estate professional in the area, your pre-approval from a strong lender really makes a difference. And there are so many different ways we can write an offer. It really makes sense to align a good lender with your realtor right out of the gate. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And we got to work it together to make sure that we do the best for our clients.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you helping us make Lansing greater.
Thank you, Karen.
The Lansing Regional Chamber is pleased to be part of Discover Greater Lansing, where we will celebrate and showcase the economic growth and assets that define our region. We are experiencing an extraordinary transformation with over $4 billion in new investment and thousands of new jobs. Placemaking, including the integration of arts, entertainment, and culture, plays a pivotal role in shaping our vibrant communities. Infrastructure is the backbone of economic growth, and we're seeing historic levels of investment exceeding $800 million, including the planned reconstruction of Michigan Avenue, connecting Michigan State University to our state capitol. As you embark on your journey to discover Greater Lansing, we encourage you to immerse yourselves in the unique experiences our region has to offer, support the small businesses that form the heartbeat of Lansing, and joining us in fostering an environment where innovation, collaboration, and prosperity flourish. Together, let's build a stronger Lansing.
So we're going to be talking about banking today with Eaton Community Bank, specifically fraud. It's everywhere. The scammers are getting bolder with all of these moves. Technology is getting better and it's happening faster. I have Chelsea with me from Eaton Community Bank, and I want to be able to expand on this a little bit. What's happening in fraud?
So you're correct, Karen. It's everywhere, and it's a constant worry for business owners. But Treasury Management Services can help. At Eaton Community Bank, we offer both ACH and check positive pay services, which can help businesses worry a little bit less.
That is great. So tell me more about this positive pay scenario.
So yes, positive pay is essentially a proactive fraud measure that you can put in place. Eaton Community Bank offers both ACH, positive pay, which works with your ACH payments. So anything that comes out automatically, your regular bills, like your vendors, your suppliers, anything that's scheduled to come out. You basically take a list of items and simply upload it into your online banking with Eaton Community. As debits cleared, they're matched against that list. Check positive pay works very similarly, but you're then uploading your check register. That check ledger is again uploaded into your Eaton Community Bank portal. And as checks are presented to the bank, that list is matched to make sure payee, date, dollar amount, and the check number all match.
Nice, nice. So it sounds pretty simple, and it also sounds like something that a person should come in and talk to you about.
Absolutely. It is very
great.
simple, and it gives business owners a peace of mind, right? It's proactive, so it's going to help you
Stay ahead of it.
Stay ahead of it, correct.
Great, great. Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope that our viewers contact you directly and get some more information about staying safe in this crazy environment.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you for joining me, Christina.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit more about the Lansing Area AIDS Network. What's your mission and vision? Yes, so our vision and mission at Lansing Area AIDS Network is to assist people living with HIV, with care services, with prevention services, and we've recently expanded to offer services such as behavioral health to individuals living with HIV, but also the LGBTQ community.
So that Rotary grant that you got from the Lansing Rotary Foundation, that was for the behavioral services programs. Talk to me about what that money helped fund.
Yeah, so behavioral health services, we are assisting people with mental health resources and counseling. And most individuals come and have insurance and we're able to bill their insurance. But at times people need assistance because maybe they don't have insurance, or it's not enough insurance to cover their mental health needs, or they have copay needs. And so that's what the grant is going to assist, is to help individuals that need that kind of assistance so they can continue to receive mental health services.
Can you tell me a story or give me an example of someone who was able to use those services and how it impacts them in the community?
Yeah, so we have a client, we'll call her Susie. She is in her 60s and she is underinsured, but needs mental health services, struggles with depression and anxiety, but now is able to get the services. She's also just very involved in her community. She has a daughter with disabilities who's an adult that she assists with. And this allows her for a place to come and talk about what's going on in her life and to address her mental health concerns.
It's fantastic. Thank you. Well, I appreciate the time and I'm glad that we're able to help the community and I hope everything goes well.
Thank you.
CATA's regional mobility solutions make a difference for our community. Hear what our writers and community leaders have to say about the value CATA delivers to the capital city area.
My name is Fonda Brewer, and I am a Delta Township trustee. And I have been in the Delta Township area for 20 some odd years. I can recall going to a restaurant and having dinner with my mom before she passed away, and there was this gentleman there who I just happened to say hello to because he tapped me and said, "Today's my birthday." And so I said, "Okay." And I said, "Great, you know, and how are you spending your day?" And what he shared with me is that he takes 2 CATA buses every day. And he transfers from downtown Lansing out here to Delta Township, and he would come here every day for lunch so that he could get the ice cream. So he inspired me so much and reminded me this is why I serve, because I can meet people like him who could go anywhere and could get there any way he knew how, but he uses CATA. Every single day for over 20 years, he does this daily. I hear from constituents all the time about what CATA is doing, especially like in my area with E-Tran, and how it's partnering and offering expanded services. That's just huge for people here. There are people here that don't have a car. Creating more mobility options for people. That's what it's all about. Because CATA is about family and people and movement, not about lines and borders.
To learn more about what the Greater Lansing area has to offer, go to discovergreaterlansing.com.
Wow, what another great show and another reason to discover Greater Lansing. So many wonderful things happening in our great, great community. From living, working, and playing, we've got it right here in Greater Lansing. Thanks for joining us.